Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. You know that meme about one like and I will whatever, one person recommending it and I will play the United States. I'm playing the United States again. This is the first time since 1.8, I think, which is right when they started Power Blocks. The Sphere of Influence DLC. So things are going to be a little different, and we're going to find out a lot about that. For those of you who are not familiar with where the United States is, technology-wise, we start with all of the tier 1s in production, and a good selection of tier 2s. Intensive agriculture, Atmo pump engine, mechanical tools, and railway. In military, we're already at percussion cap and general staff, which is very, very good. We're already at power of the purse, which unlocks the better marines. Okay. And the screw frigate, which is pretty alright. Nothing to sneeze at there. And in society, we've got central banking, central archives, egalitarianism, and dialectics. Okay, alright, so we're doing pretty well. What's my goal for this run? My goal for this run is to get really good at the Navy mechanics. Interesting that all my fleets are still separate. They're all here in New York. Let's go ahead and merge them. We will call this the United States Navy. The United States Navy. The United States Navy. So, here's the territory we've got. We're in the process of colonizing the Sioux Nation, the Pawnee, the Arapaho, the Absaroka, and the Niitsitapi and Salish peoples over here. Panaquati too, actually, but are they interesting? They're flag shaped like a subject. And then Mexico's at war with Texas. We're going to deal with that in a second. Before we get started, what do I want to do with research? I'm playing as the United States. I definitely want nationalism in the short term. Production, though, it would be really nice to have water tube boiler. Canneries up to mechanical workshops would be rad. Let's get water tube boiler. That's really going to help with the mines. I think after that, canneries up to mechanical workshops, and then over in... So in military, what's our next big one? It's breech loading artillery. So I got a little time. I can kind of wait. No, it's triage. Triage is really the next thing I need. Semi-urgently. And I will be going there, but I think I want nationalism. There's some reason I want nationalism. I forget what it is, but I'll... There's like a journal entry that I need. Let me see. Anything I need to do before we get started? I need to put in some consumption. I need to put taxation up to medium. For one thing, I need to tax. I gotta tax. Alright. Luxury furniture, yes. Liquor, yes. Save a little authority from here. Don't have any oh, I do have movements. Okay, here we go. I suppose I should choose this early. Let's go ahead and suppress the pro-slavery movement. That's going to cost some authority, and that's okay. Other stuff, it looks like New York is a little bit short of taxation capacity. Bit of a surprise there. Let's queue in 2 levels to cover that. That should mostly cover that. But those are not the first things we're going to build, because we need more construction. So let's build up a little bit more of that. Let me see. I think... Let's go with 12 levels to start. And we'll get going from there. Let me take a quick look at the market, make sure that I can sustain all that. Wow, we got some pretty expensive stuff in this market, I tell you what. Things are probably going pretty okay, though. I can probably sustain this much of an increase in the size of the construction sector with the amount of iron that I've got sitting in the ground. So let's not worry too much about that. Food industries, let's get using sweeteners. I think sweeteners could not but be useful. That's going to increase the price of sugar in our market. Where is sugar? It's over here. Okay, yeah, we're net sugar exporters, so that shouldn't be a problem. We're importing a lot of luxury clothes. That's interesting. We have a market access issue in South Carolina. That's not ideal. So we're going to need to build more rail capacity for that. And then finally, let's take a quick run at our politics while we figure out what we're doing. Government, we've got the Democratic Party in charge, consisting of the Southern planters, petite bourgeoisie, yeoman farmers, and armed forces. In opposition, we have the Whig Party, consisting of the intelligentsia, the industrialists, and the evangelicals. Evangelicals are led by an abolitionist. Trade unions are marginal. Strongest group is the Southern planters for now. Petite bourgeoisie are headed up by a Republican. Interesting. The petite bourgeoisie often snag themselves an abolitionist and join the Whigs. We'll see if that happens. Laws, we got a pretty good spread to start. Census suffrage, presidential republic. Racial segregation, total separation of church and state, elected bureaucrats, national militia, merchant navy. No home affairs, no health system, but we do have public schools. For policing, we have local police force. Taxation, we have per capita. Land reform, we have peasant proprietorship. A special form of peasant proprietorship called homesteading. I'm not that familiar with how homesteading works versus peasant proprietorship in the new build of the game, so I'm not sure what that affects. No social security, no workers' rights. Child labor allowed, right of assembly. And we have... we have anti-strike laws, which is interesting. We also have legacy slavery, and we have an amendment called the Fugitive Slave Act. This is stronger Southern planters, happier Southern planters, stronger abolitionist movement pop attraction in non-slave states. Interesting. Other amendments. For census suffrage, we have tradition of free elections. It means we can't do any election rigging, which is fine. It also gives us a baseline legitimacy bonus. And then under presidential republic, we have the Second Amendment of the Constitution. That is, it's the right to bear arms, for one thing. Let me see if I can recite it from memory. A well-organized militia being necessary to the maintenance of a free state, the right of the people to bear arms shall not be infringed. I'm pretty sure that's the one line. What does this do? Extra colony growth speed, extra mortality in non-owned land states. Ouch. Extra mortality per turmoil. Interesting. Extra training rate, and then if repeat... Okay, so Yankee and Dixie both start obsessed with small arms. That's good to know. All right. Institutions, we got level 2 for law enforcement, education, and colonial affairs. Let's get started. Let's get things rolling right away, and we'll read our journal entries. There's Texan statehood. Texas is currently in a war with Mexico. Let's immediately get improving relations with them. Actually, in fact, let's start improving relations with the Europeans we're going to need good relationships with. Do I want to improve relations with the French as well? I think yes. I wonder if this is going to be weird between the French and the British. We'll see. I'm going to go after Mexico eventually, so let's leave that where they are. Can I afford a rivalry? Hold on. I have a colony I can establish. Here in Oklahoma. Let's do it. We're currently holding the Indian Territory as a subject here in Oklahoma. So that'll be good. Diplomatic actions, rivalry. 2 options, Netherlands and Spain. Who has the weaker navy? Spain has a 6-ship navy, Netherlands is 24. Interesting. So it's actually going to be Spain who's a better rival for us early on. Very interesting. Where was that button? Not this one. This one. Stake colonial claim. Oh, interesting. Again, I don't know what staking a colonial claim does, but let's just state region on a different continent than your... Gaining 6 infamy. Reducing their relations to 14 countries. That's curious. Gains a claim on Oklahoma. Okay, so I need to be a little bit more selective about this than I have done before. Let's let it be for now. And we'll get the game started. Worcester v. Georgia. President Andrew Jackson has defied the ruling of the Supreme Court and allowed the removal of the Cherokee people to the Indian Territory. What does the Supreme Court's opinion matter? All we need to do is build a fire under them, and when it gets hot enough, they'll move. And what's ours will be ours. Is that even legal? So this adds an event called the Indian Removal. We'll touch that in a second. So Texan statehood. If we can get relations with Texas up to 20, and they're free, we'll be able to annex them, and that'll be rad. Next, the slavery debate. Slaveholders and abolitionists are engaged in increasingly rancorous debate across the nation. Sooner or later, the arguments will stop being made with words and will start being made with bullets. Will complete if the following must be true. For 10 years, the United States has enacted any variant of slavery banned. If completed, the United States loses the thing we've currently got, which is the Missouri Compromise, which makes Southern planters 25% stronger, increases political strength and votes of aristocrats by 49, and from the votes of farmers by 9. Interesting. Triggers an event called a peculiar reconciliation. Will fail if at least one of these. The United States is in a civil war. Oh, interesting. Texas lost the Civil War, and now Mexico has gotten a hold of the state of Texas. Neat. That's never happened before. So this will fail if we fall into a civil war. So that's going to be interesting. The Indian removal. In accordance with the removal treaty, it is time for the Cherokee of Georgia to relocate to the Indian Territory. Some holdouts refuse to leave their homes, and many are poorly equipped for the journey. My friends, circumstances render it impossible that you can flourish in the midst of our community. You have but one remedy within your reach, and that is to remove west. The sooner you do this, the sooner you will commence your career of improvement and prosperity. Coerce them at bayonet point. 10% of Cherokee pops in Georgia lose their lives. 8 laborers, Cherokee Protestant, those are the same group, are they not? In any case, 8,938 laborers in Georgia will move to Oklahoma. Alternatively, offers them some assistance on the journey. 5% of Cherokee pops in Georgia will lose their lives. Number of people moved will be the same. This costs 1,200 pounds a week for 2 years. Some Cherokee will die along the way. I gotta pick the second one. I think that's a no-brainer. Decaying your population by that much, rather than spending a trivial amount of money, it just seems totally silly. Are we colonizing here? We are. I need to get my colonization rate up. And other normal American opinions. Okay, colonization law, we're on frontier colonization. So we're not able to colonize overseas. So if we want to do that, we've got to get up to some stuff. Let's take a quick look. Our navy is a reasonable navy. Not great screening over vulnerability. Definitely could use more cruisers. 1 frigate? 1 frigate and 8 what? Oh, 1 frigate design. And no, none of the other designs. Alright, so that makes sense. Let's not get rolling too fast. So, the Indian removal. We've been seeing events related to that. Settlers want the Cherokee Nation to vacate coveted land. The President, in defiance of the Supreme Court, has ordered that the Cherokee Nation should migrate to the Indian Territory. Will complete if at least one of these. The United States has enacted a variant of no colonial affairs. Average acceptance of Cherokee pops in the United States is greater than or equal to 60, or no Cherokee pops remain in the United States. If completed, if the removal is not prevented, the Cherokee people will be forced to migrate at great loss of life. So where are our Cherokee people living? South Carolina has about 7K Cherokee people. North Carolina, 3.5K. Tennessee, right? Yes. Tennessee has 10K. Alabama, 1.2K. Georgia, none. They all vacated. None in Mississippi. None in Kentucky. None in Virginia. So they live in this general area, and what they're doing is they're being moved to the Indian Territory. The Indian Territory is a territorial government. Can I colonize Texas yet? I cannot. colonization targets. I'll be there soon. I'm coming for you, Texas. Cash flow's still good. So yeah, so that's what's happening. The Union Territory is a Cherokee and Siouan primary culture nation. They are our subject. They are a puppet state. Relations are not great. I think I'm going to improve relations with them. Bosniak mass immigration from the Ottoman Empire. Lovely. And Circassian from Russia as well. Excellent. Not much GDP, pretty low population. Things are overall pretty tough. They're running a presidential Republican autocracy, which is interesting. Land-based taxation and economic system traditionalism. Interesting. Anyway, so that is the end of that. What else do I want to build? What do I need for my market, for one thing? I need more fertilizer. I have the ability to build fertilizer plants. So let's go ahead. Where have we got ours? Indiana and Ohio. Let's double fertilizer production. We have an explosives factory in Pennsylvania. We're not currently using explosives for much. I've got a lot of small armies. Are we using skirmish infantry? We are. So that must mean that we have at least one munitions plant. Okay, so that's in Pennsylvania, so that makes sense. We'll leave that be for now. I think perhaps the answer to how we do things is we increase the size of our regular army. But with us having cash to play with, I haven't outrun my iron supply yet, so let's continue to increase the size of the construction sector. Let's put 2 in West Virginia, and then I'm going to put 2 more levels in New York. I'm going to throw these at the top of the queue. And while I'm thinking about this, I have a few places that I can incorporate. And the question is, do I? Do I incorporate all these states or not? Probably yes. Their populations are really low. With frontier colonization, what do we get? So, okay. Homesteading doesn't affect that. With frontier colonization, increased migration attraction in unincorporated states. Unlocks established missions decree, enables the colonial affairs institution. I don't feel like I need... Wow, populations in some of these areas are really low. Maybe it is good for us to keep at least these ones unincorporated for now. Illinois is fully incorporated. Michigan, frankly, could use a little bit more population, but it is what it is. New neighbors, new grudges. A minority of Circassian people is recently settled in the state of Tennessee, seeking a better future. However, the local Dixie elites are stirring up resentment, claiming the Circassian newcomers will destroy the traditional way of life. They don't belong here. Our Dixie customs, our way of life, they'll be lost if we let somebody settle. Okay, we got a broken variable here. If we let the Circassians settle. The words, spoken by a prominent landowner, echoed through a Nashville tavern. The next day they spread through the market, and on the next they were on the lips of the town hall's secretaries. As the newcomers filed through the streets, they were met with closed doors and cold stares. I think this text is different or America-specific. The Circassian people must accept their lot. 2% of Yankee and Dixie upstart and pops become more loyalists. 5% of Circassian pops become more radical. Acceptance of Circassian pops in Tennessee is reduced by 5. And this fosters harmony between the peoples, whether Circassian or Dixie. 5% of pops in Tennessee become more radical. 25% chance acceptance of Circassians goes down by 5 or up by 15, and then the other 50% chances it goes up by 5. Or the old Dixie ways can continue to dominate our modern nation. 20% of Yankee and Dixie upstart pops become more radical. Acceptance of Circassian pops in Tennessee is improved by 20. Here's the deal with this. Radicalism and loyalism don't go away. But acceptance goes up over time until it's at the normal baseline level. So I'm actually going to hit this first button, because that's going to affect very important things about the way my country is going to end up being structured. North Caucasian mass immigration. Cool. Alright, so cash flow is looking good. Investment pool is building. And investment pool is building shipyards. Actually, And now we're in a shortage of iron. All right, that's okay. That's completely fine. Where do we have iron production capacity? Certainly in Pennsylvania. Let's throw that at the top of the queue. Do we have some iron mines in New York? We certainly do. Let's build some there as well. These are not profitable somehow. Would you be more profitable if you were running rail transit? By a little bit. Alright, I'm just going to keep an eye on this for a second as we build up these mines. Let's do the ones in Pennsylvania first. The atmospheric engine. Through the widespread introduction of the atmospheric engine in the mining industry, productivity is at an all-time high. When steam first began to pump and wheels go round at so many revolutions per minute, what are called business habits were intended to make the life of a man run in harmony with the steam engine, and his movement rival the engine in punctuality. I'm sure we can squeeze a little bit more from these machines, extra mines throughput by 33% for 5 years, or perhaps there's an even better way, free progress on water tube boiler. You know I'm going with that free progress on water tube boiler. That's almost half the way there, and that's the thing I'm currently doing. Obviously, this is costing me money now, but that's completely reasonable. Let's set... Andrew Jackson has died, making John Calhoun the leader of the United States. So he is the leader of the Southern planters, and he's a slaver. That's interesting. Government has gone up significantly in legitimacy, and now we've got Marlon Rando as the leader of the yeoman farmers. Real name Gabriel Sewell. Sewell? I've never seen Sewell done with a done up with an A before. Anyway, that's fine. We seem to have fallen in rank, which is a little bit of a surprise. Spain declared rivalry. That's fine. What do we have in our naval queue right now? I think we're going to need cruisers. Let's go ahead and add a new template. Let's build a frigate. Okay, so our current cruisers are slow. We'll go to Midland cruisers. Do I want to increase the extended quarterdecks? I don't think so. As far as hardwood and iron outputs, those are reasonably affordable. Let's look at modifications. Patrol boats for extra wood to increase blockade strength, or large cannonades for increased hull attack damage. That's going to support the artillery industry. Let's go with large cannon. Is it really worth it? Let's actually not modify them. I think I do want the extended quarterdeck. I'm playing as America. I'm wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling corn. English National Awakening. But I think other than that, I don't think I need... It is a really significant increase in ship hit points and ship armor. I think I'm going to go with the same... I'm going to go with faster ships once I have the ability to. But I think for now, I'm not going to do modifications. I'm going to create this template. I'm going to select it. And then let's go up to 15 of these, just to start. Now, I have an election rolling. It looks like the Democratic Party has significantly more momentum than the Whigs. They're projected to get 83% of the vote. That's fine. Don't worry too much about that. Higher learning. The president himself has officially opened the University of Massachusetts. Academia is beginning to flourish in the United States of America. Philosophy is the highest calling of mankind. Through philosophy, we can come to understand the very foundations of metaphysics, the nature of the divine, and the essence of virtue. It stands to reason, then, that only the most enlightened of wisdom seekers are fit to hold power. Society should be ruled by philosopher kings, extra university throughput, increased political strength of academics. Cool. I love that wrapper. Now, I was setting my buildings to privatize. I think this is just completely reasonable. I see no reason not to set my buildings privatizing. Ohio, you'll be more profitable if you're producing ceramics. Privatize. Yeah, I'm completely comfortable with the private sector purchasing all of my, oh my gosh, I start with motor industries. This is great. Are the shipyards privatized? I think yes. Arms industries, yes. Artillery foundries, yes. Munitions, maybe we'll leave the arms industries and motor industries where they are. For now. Wheat farms. Some of our farms are producing citrus. Ditto, some of our farms are producing citrus. Let's see what it looks like if we go to all that for maize farms. We're doing increased wool gathering. Some of our farms are not using slaughterhouses. Let's go ahead and do that. That made them unprofitable. You're just pretending. You think you're unprofitable, but you're really not. All right. Commander commends Civic Coalition. Commander Lafayette, not Lafayette, he's someone else. Commodore Eli Augustus Frederick Lafayette has made public statements in support of the Democratic Party, bringing into question the political neutrality of the military. It is my duty to defend the nation and its interests. Politics is as much a war as battles and logistics are. I don't see the problem with doing my duty and doing what I can to make sure those who are best fit to protect the nation end up being the ones in charge. Eli Augustus Frederick Lafayette can say what he wants. Extra momentum for the Democrats. Reprimand him. Good soldiers don't give orders, they take them. Officer pops become more radical, 5%. Or, if Admiral Lafayette likes politics so much he ought to get more involved, he becomes the leader of the Southern Planters. And after the election, presumably the president. The Southern Planters are already slavers. Bigoted, this is going to give him extra authority, which is nice. John Calhoun is a very good leader. I'm just going to say he can say what he wants. A very good character to have leading the country, I should say. Not necessarily a great leader. Let's go ahead and put in a couple of more iron mines as well to keep our iron situation expanding so that we can continue to increase the size of the iron industry. By the way, if you're having fun, if you're enjoying the play so far, drop a like, drop a subscription. It really helps the channel grow. Moving right along here, that doesn't seem to have really affected the election much. Projected voter turnout 41%. That's what it is. I've got a lot of bureaucracy to play with. I'm wondering if I should increase the level of education. I think the answer is yes. I got 130 bureaucracy per level, so that's pretty reasonable. But this is a pretty good overage. I could easily use this to get it to some chicanery. I can't currently have a reasonably good government with the Whigs in charge, but a reasonably legitimate government with the Whigs in charge. So right now, I think our focus is going to simply be on increasing our ability to output more factories faster. Evangelicals deactivated pious fiction. Used to having those in there. Okay, explosive shortage, very good. Pennsylvania explosives factories, are you hiring? You're not. Not even a little bit, in fact. Alright, that's okay. You can hire. Now they're making money. Now they're making money. They're just pretending they can't make money. Hire. Start hiring. They're going to hire at the end of the month. A torrent of gin and beer. The Democratic Party's anti-alcohol policy is hurting their electoral prospects, as scores of thirsty voters flock to the Whig Party, hoping that a change in government will see an end to the country's temperance policies. So this is because I put a consumption tax on liquor. Resist temptation? I'll tell you what tempts me. Shoving this boot here up you moralizing teetotalers you-know-wheres. I want a drink, I'll have a drink, and if you shan't, then I'll go to those that will. No beer, no vote, extra momentum for the Whigs, or run a smear campaign against these immoral bacchanalians. Extra momentum for the Whigs, reduce momentum for the Democrats. I'm not sure which is better for the Whigs' electoral prospects. I think I'm going to go with the first one and see how that goes. Okay, that affected it a little bit. Democratic Party is still holding a comfortable, massive supermajority. 100% electoral confidence. Feeling pretty pleased about that. Let me look at my ship construction. I am spending quite a bit on ship construction, which is reasonable. Completely sensible. I'm building half supply ships and half naval ships. I think I'm reasonably comfortable with how that's going. I'm spending a lot of money, but hopefully expanding the iron industry will help with that. Let's go ahead and throw one of our fertilizer plants up top of the queue because I'm doing better on iron than I have been before. Let me see. I need to get producing my own coffee. Oh my goodness. I've run out market access in West Virginia. Oh my goodness. What a massive error. All right, never mind. This matters more. Not that West Virginia matters more, but getting full market access in your states matters more. I need to fix up my cash flow, and the only way to do that is to start incorporating states. Flemish National Awakening in Flanders. Dixie National Awakening. Okay. And there's our election. So, I've got a free reform. I've got a righteous government right now. I can't rightly put the Whig in power in any way, shape, or form. Let's see what I can do with the laws. I can change over to dedicated police force. Most of the country would like that. The Southern planters would be mad. They're currently pretty happy. I think we're going to do that. We're just going to take that's just a reasonable step to getting them depowered, which I do want to do. No one I can negotiate with. Shortage of steel. Is this because the steel industry is failing to... I don't know why I changed over to rural, to output. Doesn't look like it. Looks like they're increasing. War profiteering. Pacifists led by Henry Clay, by President Henry Clay? No, John Calhoun. By Henry Clay, a guy who ran for president really a lot of times historically, but never got in, are protesting the weapons manufacturing in Virginia. Some may tell you the United States of America is at peace, Clay told the crowd. Then he gestured toward the workshop and with genuine anger in his voice continued, I tell you, as long as these rifles are fixed in any country, are fired in any country in this world, we are not at peace. The blood of these wars is also on our hands and will not be washed clean before we cease to make these instruments of death. So quick question. Do I have munitions plants anywhere other than Virginia? I surely do. It's not all of our guns. It's a lot of our guns, though. So I can halt production until this settles down, which reduces small arms building throughput by 100%. And significantly reduce production that makes my intelligentsia a little bit mad and reduces output by 50%. Or we can say we'll not be shamed for our good craftsmanship, which makes our intelligentsia even bigger mad. I do really want to keep this migration attraction. So we're just going to do the second one. I'm going to take a half measure, see if that works. I'm not going to queue in another arms industry yet. I definitely want to do that eventually, but... Okay, where's all our steel demand coming from now? Okay, from tooling workshops. Alright, that makes sense. And what's with our steel mills? Okay, so now they're hiring. They were scheduled to be reduced in size, but not anymore. Yeah, so the steel shortage caused an engine shortage. That's going to sort itself out as these steel manufacturing plants, as these steel mills start to output more steel, which they are currently doing. All right, the abolitionists' martyrdom. An ardent abolitionist writer died in a firefight against a pro-slavery mob which had gathered in front of his house. The story has gone national and radicalized previously apathetic individuals high and low. His friends sighed. The funeral had been small, lest the mob appear again in force. The gravestone itself was simple, not calling attention to itself. The only embellishment that had been allowed was a simple inscription. Here lies a brave man, now spare his grave. Ghastly, the violence of slavers must be resisted. Henry Clay's ideology changes to abolitionist, or the abolitionist agitation must be stopped. Cornelius Vanderbilt's ideology changes to slavers. So Henry Clay is our head of the intelligentsia. He's a pacifist currently. Or this abolitionist agitation must be stopped. Cornelius Vanderbilt will change ideology to slavery. He's the leader of the industrialists and a moderate. Here's the thing. I haven't decided if this is going to be... I say as I'm suppressing the pro-slavery movement. I haven't decided if this is going to be a pro-slavery... if this is going to be like a CSA playthrough or not. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be. But this wouldn't also necessarily be good for that. If Cornelius Vanderbilt becomes a slaver, there's a chance that the industrialists move into the Democratic Party, and that makes the Democratic Party more less cohesive, lower legitimacy, which is not good for the country. So I'm just going to pick this first one. It's not going to change much, all things considered. All right. So the United States of Central America have broken up into a number of small countries. The Mosquito Kingdom is the subject of Great Britain. So we could engage in a little bit of expansionism in the south here. Alemannic mass immigration from Baden. I would like to have better relations with Haiti. Doing pretty well with dedicated police force. I could negotiate with the Southern Planters. I don't think I need to negotiate with the Southern Planters over this, however. I don't think this is an urgent need for negotiation. Before I keep going, though, I was setting a bunch of things to privatize. I'm going to keep the weapons industry where they are. But farms, mines. Do all of you iron mines want to be in rail transport? Not sure. Let me see if you still want to be in rail transport. No, you want to go back to road carts. Very good. Plantations. All of this into privatize. But we do have our own sugar plantations in Louisiana and Georgia. Very cool. They have plantations where you're in Liberia. That's right. I have a subject state in Liberia. We're going to set all of these businesses to privatize. Let me get into development for a second. Railways should be running passenger carriages. I'm still on experimental trains. That's not ideal. Universities can go to philosophy department. Swing and a miss on my part, not doing that. Government admin. Definitely going to go to standardized filing system eventually. Wasn't thinking about it. General training for barracks. That is something I want. But I'm not going to do it yet. I probably shouldn't have built those government sectors, but hindsight's 2020. Discord within the industrialists. An influential faction within the industrialists has grown frustrated with the government's neutrality on the topic of dedicated police force. Themselves in favor of the law, they've now resolved to form a separate political faction intent on passing it. How can you all stand idly by and watch the world pass before your eyes? Have you no sense of honor, of duty to your fellow man? I say nay to such lack of ambition, and I dare say I am not alone in this. With our support, the bill shall pass. Slightly weaker industrialists, 15% increased in accurate success chance, or the armed forces extend an open hand to these mavericks. Stronger armed forces, weaker intelligentsia, but not as much an accurate success chance. I'm going to pick the first one. I don't necessarily want stronger armed forces. It's not going to be necessarily useful to me anyway. Can I colonize Texas yet? I'm adjacent. What if... Hold on. Where's that colonial claim thing? Is it over here? No, I've lost it. Oh, I can incorporate Arkansas and Michigan. Okay, hold on. Before I do this, population's looking like in Arkansas. Could use more population. Michigan, though, ready to incorporate. In fact, I'm going to incorporate Arkansas right now. Alright, so now the Southern Planters are a little salty, which means we've got a little bit of a ticking time bomb on this whole dedicated police force thing. I really don't want to negotiate with them because I want to negotiate with them over things that I like more, like getting rid of slavery, which is something that long term I would like to do. For tech, we are doing water tube boiler. That is something we need. For society now... Where is quinine's the next thing to give us colonial affairs? Yeah. And that's a little ways away, because I would like to have slightly better colonial affairs. It's not really clear how quinine is helping in the western United States, but, you know. I've pretty much drained my gold reserve at this time. Hopefully I would have some kind of virtuous economic cycle. It looks like wood is expensive and tools are expensive. Market access in South Carolina and West Virginia are both being solved right now. You can decrease the autonomy of Liberia, which is interesting. I don't think I necessarily wish to. Interesting. The pro-slavery movement is secessionary over this. So, what if... Now, Britain... Why are you wary all of a sudden? Alright, well, I'm not going to get help from them. What about France? They don't want a defensive pact. They really don't want a defensive pact. Yeah, minus 30 acceptance. Alright. French army power projection. Alright. Well, that sucks. Interesting. So... they're only predicted to go to 83%. So maybe I can avoid this popping off. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to slate in a new round of arms industries in New York. The Indian removal. In accordance with the removal treaty, it is time for the Cherokee of Arkansas to relocate to the Indian Territory. Some holdouts refuse to leave their homes, and many are poorly equipped for the journey. We saw this event a little earlier. I'm just going to offer assistance once again. This is going to move 23k peasants, Cherokee peasants in Arkansas to Oklahoma, and about 8.2k laborers. Some Cherokee people will die on the way, and that is a tragedy. So if I want this to go away, I could cancel enactment of dedicated police force, but I do want a dedicated police force. I think that's reasonable. Thoroughly reasonable. I could drop taxes. That would cost me some money, but not that much. The Georgia Political Union. Organizers affiliated with the abolitionist movement have founded an organization devoted to fostering popular participation in politics in the Georgia region. The direct cause of our land's woes, the speaker proclaimed, is the concentration of power within a class which is predisposed to idleness and conspiracy. It is our duty, then, to collect the efforts of the industrious classes against their manipulation, and bring them to a great moral confrontation, a contest of political truth and right against political despoliation and wrong. It was a good sentiment, thought one listener, if one was predisposed to charity. If one was not, he dreaded to think of how poorly one could interpret such a conspiracy. The people have begun to make themselves heard. Increased universal political strength in Georgia. Increased stronger abolitionist movement. Order the shutter before it grows out of control. 5% of middle sternum pops and 2% of lower sternum pops in Georgia become more radical. I'm going to go with the first one. I think that's reasonable. Stronger abolitionist movement is good for what I'm trying to do. Okay, so hopefully this secession movement will sort itself out. Maybe I need to increase the size of the army. Edmund Gates, you're a reformer. Okay, so you're Army of Operation Winfield Scott, you're a moderate. Army of Florida, Zachary Taylor, you're a moderate aligned with the Southern Planters. And the United States Marine Corps has no leader. Popular playwright endorses reform. In the midst of the debate surrounding dedicated police force, one of the country's leading playwrights, strongly associated with the petite bourgeoisie, has staged a widely acclaimed play whose politically laden theme makes no secret of the author's desire for the law to be passed. The man's viewpoints may be somewhat partisan, but sir, you cannot argue with his prose. Dedicated police force will be on everyone's lips now. Extra enactment success chance. Sure puts the petite bourgeoisie in a good light, makes them 10% stronger. While let's ensure the play gets a wider international audience. Extra prestige, 5% extra prestige. I'm just going to go with the enactment success chance. I think we got a really good chance of passing this. We're already in study. And hopefully then the Southern Planters will calm the heck down. Alright, how's cash flow? Alright, I'm increasing the size of the army of the regular army. So Army of Observation, Winfield Scott, I don't know how reliable he is. So, you know, we'll continue to increase the size of the regular army, shall we? Let's do... let's get some artillery in here, shall we? Where is my artillery foundry currently? It's in New York. Alright, that's fine. The mob approaches. Belligerent crowds have been getting increasingly provocative when confronted by troops in Mississippi. Hardliners and government are demanding tougher responses, while doves are calling for troops to stand down as the first hopeful step in de-escalation. A whiff of grape shot saved the day once, and it can be done again. I'm telling you, we need to show strength right now. Strength? Bah, bullets are a mission of weakness. We need to talk, show them we're not afraid. That's how we'll get them. Disperse the crowds by force, or order the troops to stand down. I don't care which way the secession progress bar goes. So really I'm choosing between a 50% chance of Pops becoming more radical, a 5% of Pops in the state becoming more radical here, or a 50% chance of 2% of them becoming more loyalist here. I'm going to click that second one, and the pro-slavery movement rebellion process went up. Rebellion progress went up instead. Alright, we are slowly increasing the size of our navy. We're getting our screening up. Isaac Hull is a moderate aligned with the industrialists, so the navy is likely to go with the government. Wouldn't hurt to get our not progress to voting. Excellent. It wouldn't hurt to get our everything's pretty much sorted before the Civil War. I'm just going to max out conscription in New England here. It wouldn't hurt to have, what was I saying? To have our Civil War complete early on. Oh, that's a nice solid 40 battalions. Let's put another 10 in New York. And then we'll put another 10 in Pennsylvania. It's a good solid number of troops. Let's throw 5 levels of conscript artillery into Pennsylvania and New York. That's a good solid force. In the event that this becomes a civil war, they've hit their flat point of activism, and they're very, very slowly going up. But I think they're going to go back down once we pass dedicated police force, which I hope we're able to do right now. There's water tube boiler. Beautiful. So that is going to make our mining industry much, much more efficient. Ooh, and vacuum pans for our sugar plantations. Don't mind if I do. Let's go to the condensing pump engine for all of our mines. And there's dedicated police force. Alright, so now we can chill, and this is all going to go away. That's good. So we had an event disappear immediately. A donation of knowledge. Cornelius Vanderbilt has offered to spend some of their personal wealth to fund the creation of a university in Ohio, though this will likely give the industrialists some influence. The Cornelius Vanderbilt University will be a proud bastion of learning in these times of rapid progress, where knowledge truly is power. A wonderful idea. Or no, we can't give them platform. Wonderful idea. I know I already picked it. Wonderful idea gives them 5% more 5% increased political strength, but then the other one is extra, is it pisses them off if we say no. I'm always going to go for a free university. I think that's just good sense. The Trail of Tears. Our efforts to remove the Cherokee people from eastern lands has led to the deaths of many during their overland march westward. Measles, cholera, starvation. This removal has created a trail of tears and death for our people. We did what we could, -3 standard of living for Cherokee people in Oklahoma. Oh, that's quite bad. Bleeding Iowa. Abolitionists and proponents of slavery have been pouring into Iowa, hoping to shape the territory's government to their liking. Paramilitary groups have begun committing acts of violence against each other and civilians. Before God and in the presence of these witnesses, from this time I consecrate my life to the destruction of slavery. The crimes of this guilty land can never be purged away but with blood. Border ruffians cannot dictate law. Iowa must be a free state. Or jayhawkers do not decide what is right. Iowa will be a slave state. It's exactly what it says in the tin. If you pick the second one, 2.65K Afro-American Protestant slaves in Missouri will move to Iowa. I'm going to pick the first one. I think that's just reasonable. I think that's completely reasonable. Sewell, heading up our yeoman farmers, is a slaver, so the possibility of getting rid of slavery is pretty low right now. Capital interests. The interests of the southern planters in the lucrative fabric trade with France have led them to begin lobbying in favor of closer ties with France. Does the increased volume not permit for more risk? Quite the opposite. When a deluge of money enters one's pocket, one becomes predisposed to mania. An extra coin to a waiter, a formerly shocking fee paid off with a smile. If one is not careful, one ceases to look at their ledgers at all. They pay more than they ever did, and this is the road to ruination. An excellent point. Will it justify the deployment of warships? It had better. If it does not, perhaps a donation will. A toast to our prosperity. New pro-country lobby is created targeting France. Or our relationship should remain strictly transactional, southern planters weaker. So this is interesting. I'm going to say a toast to our prosperity, because here's the thing. I can establish good relations with France in any way I wish. Oh, this thing. Okay, so this thing's looking a lot more likely. The modifier for their power projection compared to theirs is much more reasonable now. So I think if we get a slightly stronger army, we'll be able to get to the point where they would even be positively chill about it. Who can we put in charge of the Marine Corps? Thomas Jessup. But you're an abolitionist. Yeah, we'll put you in. We'll put you in. We have landing Marines, who are the better Marines that we get access to. So let's build a few more of them. Put them in Maine. Maine is going to be a Marine state. So now, yep, steadily increasing Army power projection. That's good. Let me see. The United States Navy has a transport capacity of 5 Marines and 9 other units. So if we take our Marine Corps and give them... I've already put them up to 6. So let's perhaps... Oh, I can't decrease them because I got a secession movement rolling. That's okay though. This is gonna sort itself out. Believe you me. The Southern planters are already getting happier. Anyway, as we increase the size of our Navy, that's going to work out just fine. Let's go ahead and create a new capital ship design. Let's go to full sail, rig and single engine. I can actually go to the better engine now that I've got water tube boiler. Let's actually do that, because I believe, hold on to your butts, people. 5.5 is the minimum speed of the baseline ship of the line, which I believe we are. No, we're not. 9.5 for the USS Delaware. 9.5 for the Columbus. 9.5 for the Franklin. 9.5 for the North Carolina. 9.5 for the Ohio. And 9.5 for the Washington. Alright, so never mind. Those ones are good to go. Cruisers, I think, are faster. Even, yeah, 10.5. Alright, so cruisers are not a shortage here. Now, what if we look at the new ones? Yeah. If we only look at the old ones, they're at 8. Interesting. So it's actually our lighter ships that are slower. Anyway, what was I doing? Ship of the line. Oh, 9.5 is the baseline. I don't know why I thought it was 5.5. Because I was looking at this. Okay, so 4 from ship of the line, 5.5 from full sail rig. So what does this do? This is 12 fabric and 8 hardwood. This is the same with 3 coal and 3 engines. This is the same with 6 coal and 6 engines. I'm just going to hit that button. I think faster ships are really, really good. Modifications, I can go with landing skips, naval invasion efficiency. I think that's very worth it. And do I go with extra armor for increased iron input? I think I definitely do. Very high construction cost overall. But I think this is the same construction speed. I think it's just more expensive to build. I could be wrong, though. Maybe I'm getting a little bit ambitious. But that's so much more armor. I gotta go with the iron reinforced hull. Let's create that template. I'm gonna throw 4 of these in the naval construction queue, and then I'm going to add 5 more of our newer frigates. Just drop the speed here, and what we'll do, well, we're only really building 1 ship at once. So, but I do want to intersperse these. Irish National Awakening in Munster. French National Awakening in Normandy. So we'll go ahead and get those interspersed. Do I have another production method available for these ships. Let's go with general training for the conscription centers. Shipyards. I can do reinforced wooden ships. Are they still? I guess these still also produce clippers. So this is almost universally not profitable for them. But if I subsidize them, that'll be fine. I'll find out how much I'm paying in subsidies in a minute. A fort in a sea of anger. Mobs have surrounded an arsenal in Alabama, threatening to seize the arms and munitions stored within. While the guards are staving off attacks for now, if no relief is sent, then the arsenal will fall to the insurrectionists. I couldn't sleep last night. The commander refuses to accept terms, and firing continues from both the arsenal and the emplacements that now surround it. After one large blast, I sprung out of bed and went onto my knees to pray. Pray as I've never prayed before. A relief column could escalate tensions a bit. 5% of servicemen pops in Alabama become more radical. Or the mob can be emboldened by a surrender, but we need to take the risk. 5% of officers become more radical. Neither of these is really going to affect... There's changes in the progress of the pro-slavery movement, but neither of them is really going to affect things. I'm just going to go ahead and let the officers be... Let the servicemen be more radicalized. They went down, so that's nice. So... 86% militancy and going up. That's a little bit of a surprise. I'm not sure why they're going up. Oh, from reduced levels of barracks and... interesting. But they're going down now. So as long as I finish building these barracks and sort themselves out, they'll be fine. Let's go to focused hardwood production because we're in a hardwood shortage right now in a couple of different areas. What does that do to the price of wood, softwood? It's still okay. We are importing some though, which I wish we were not. Ideally, I want these right next to each other because I don't want there to be shortages in both. In any case, surely I can increase my level of wood production, and that will be just fine. Now, how much am I paying in subsidies for these ships? Quite a bit, but I think that's okay. I think that's okay for now. We're working on expanding our navy. I think that's just reasonable. Let's keep an eye on this pro-slavery movement. Okay, they're going up to 90. Why are you getting larger? Why are you getting larger? Stop getting larger. It's the barracks. It's the barracks. That's why they're getting larger. But they'll stop getting larger now. The Southern planters are going to chill out. They're going to relax. They're going to stop being insurrectionary, and then everything is going to go back. We're going to have peace in our time. There's going to be peace in our time. All right, there we go. It's going down. Every week it's predicted to go down. As long as I keep my eye on it, it'll keep going down. It's only 9% of the country. 33% abolitionists. See, they're hurtling steadily downward. Oh boy. I was going to start a wildfire in North Dakota. Who did a gender reveal party in North Dakota? Stop that. This is setting North Dakota on fire. Secessionist movement, ammunition. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure it will be fine. Where is my munitions plant? Where is my munitions plant, sir? It is in Pennsylvania. Alright, that'll be fine. It's fine. It's fine. And my artillery foundry is in New York. Alright, just making sure. The street side standard. Troops in Kentucky have reported more and more confrontations with belligerent mobs. Fighting will likely break out soon, even if nothing is ordered. There's only two ways to control the situation. Either pull the troops back or tell them to engage. A soldier shuffled nervously where he stood, shifting the weight of his gun back and forth as he stared at the crowd stirring far too close by. He thought he recognized some of those faces, or he would have, if they were not twisted in utter loathing of him and his uniform. What was he even doing? Was he standing with the right people here? Order withdrawal from Kentucky. Increased state penalties from turmoil. 50% chance the pro-slavery movement increases by 5% or decreases by 5%. Or the people in the army are one and the same. Let them talk it out. 33% chance 10% of servicemen pops become more radical and the progress of the pro-slavery movement goes up. 66% 2% become more loyalist. Of pops in the entire state become more loyalist and the pro-slavery movement goes down. I'm going to pick that second one, and it worked. Excellent. So, now that our power projection has increased, now that the Marine Corps has become larger, now that the regular army has become larger, France, old buddy, old pal, what does this treaty look like? It still doesn't look great, but I bet I could push it over the line with everyone's favorite additional gift, money. Money. Say it sweetly, with money. Let's add 23. Alright, that's not quite enough. 15, 62% chance they say yes. It's a risk. We'll go with 3,500, 77%. It's not that much. Let's go with 400. Alright, 92% chance they say yes. I like those odds. Let's do it. France, give me a defensive pact. Oh, interesting. They would like to also give me trade privileges even more than the other one. That's really curious. So I could transfer only 3K in that case. Which I don't understand, but I'm delighted by. Send proposal. Alright, well now I feel confident if I need to shoot at my slave owners that I can shoot at my slave owners. But I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. I'm hoping that the radicalism continues to go down. Anyway, the Southern Planters are much happier now. Now that I've gotten my trade agreement and my defensive pact with France. And surely that will mean the pro-slavery movement stops doing stuff? We'll see, I guess. I made it up to, yeah. Now I could increase law enforcement by a lot. Let's do it. I got a lot of bureaucracy to play with. This is probably a mistake. Let's increase it to level 3 at least. That's going to make life easier. I don't think I've got a whole lot of turmoil. Can I see turmoil? I can see radicals. I barely have any radicals. So I'm feeling pretty confident in my ability to continue to do what I'm doing. Got a little bit of a national debt, but I'm hardly paying any interest in that, so I'm not too worried about it. I can of course stop building and let my... Oh no, my investment pool is still close to empty, so I do need to continue to build. Let's take a look at the market and see what else we need. We need additional tooling. We need additional small arms. We need additional coffee and silk. Let's build up some tooling workshops here in New York. Massachusetts and New York both have small arms industries. Let's build those up. How am I doing? I've got rifling spreading to me, but it's not spreading very fast. That's okay, though. No problems with that. I need more furniture and more paper. And West Virginia still seems to be in an infrastructure issue, so we'll subsidize the railroads to make sure that that doesn't continue to be a problem. Now, West Virginia would be a good place to output more steel, which is expensive in our market. So let's go ahead and queue in a steel mill there. Now, unfortunately, West Virginia will go with the slavers in the event of a war. An ahistorical result, but not completely unreasonable under circumstances. The armed forces suggest a more hardline foreign policy towards Mexico due to our poor relations. If half of what you're saying is true, I wouldn't want you anywhere near that border, she said. But I don't think it is. Mother, you've always said not to trust the Mexicans. Why would you trust them to respect our borders? No one wants their son to do it because they know it's dangerous. That's exactly why we need to do it. Don't read anything into that. This is a random event that can occur between any two countries at the border. Set aside polite formalities. They are the enemy. Deteriorates relations with Mexico by 30. Armed forces gets happier. Or despite our mutual dislike, there's no need to escalate this. Reduce authority. Armed forces unhappy. I'm going to pick the first one. I think that's just reasonable. A foreign manifesto. The recently translated works of Rukanath Bora. Let me see. Armed forces, Republican. He's Assamese, Hindu. I still think probably Rukanath, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have a linguistic background to justify that. The recently translated works of Rukanath Bora have become popular within the liberal movement. The relationship has developed to the point of Rukanath Bora openly endorsing the movement. And for a whole large class, there is no other road, especially for a nation so eminently practical as the American. The great thing is to get the working class to move as a class, that once obtained, they will soon find the right direction, and all resist will be left out in the cold with small sects of our own. So do I want a stronger liberal movement? I think I'm okay with that. Our struggle is an international one, 10% stronger liberal movement. Or this foreign interference ought to be punished. Significantly weaker liberal movement, but more active. Industrialists, mad, but weaker. I'm going to pick the first one. I think that's just fine. So we're building up the tooling workshops. We're building up the steel. I could use more paper. We have another event. The Fugitive Slave. A slave belonging to Gabriel Sewall has escaped his estate and fled to a northern free state. Sewall has demanded his return, but abolitionists are calling for his demands to be ignored. There are a few things that I care about more than justice. If a man loses his jacket, it's only natural that it would be returned to him, right? I am simply asking what's mine to be returned to me. Why is this causing such an uproar? We shall find and return Gabriel Sewall's fugitive slave. Yeoman farmers and southern planters happier. Trade unions, evangelicals, and intelligentsia unhappy. Or free soil makes anyone free. Gabriel Sewall will get no help from the government. Fugitive Slave Act is removed from legacy slavery. Southern planters unhappy, and yeoman farmers. Evangelicals and intelligentsia are happier. Okay, so I can get rid of the Fugitive Slave Act. And just as a reminder, the Fugitive Slave Act is makes the southern planters significantly happier and stronger, and increases abolitionist movement pop attraction in non-slave states. So that's interesting. So it's going to weaken my abolitionist movement if I get rid of it. I do not currently have the ability to form a Whig Party government that could pass laws. I guess if I dropped taxes all the way to minimal, I could go to an unstable government, but that wouldn't necessarily be useful. Gosh, I sure wish I didn't have to make this decision right now. Increased abolitionist movement pop attraction in states. I still think removing it's the right call. It's only for 2 years, and getting rid of the Fugitive Slave Act is good. That's going to weaken the southern planters in any case. Now this movement is slowly going down, and stop going back up. Stop going back up, I say. Artistic inspiration. Enthralled by the magnificent romanticist artwork produced by British artists, the intelligentsia have begun to align themselves with the American British Fellowship. British Impressionism. The words now seem to fit together as seamlessly as French wine or Chinese silk, acquiring a meaning greater than the sum of their parts. He could spend the rest of his life in this gallery, import enough masterworks to coat every wall in his home, and yet remain just as enraptured as he was when he first laid eyes on it. Each painting was a window into a culture he could spend a lifetime attempting to comprehend, each brushstroke driven by a vigor which had grown from a foreign seed. How could he understand about Great Britain? How much could he understand about Great Britain through these, if he merely had the time and the ability? So our options are, what culture? Intelligentsia joins the American British Fellowship, or what culture? Intelligentsia becomes weaker. Not the first one. I'm happy with having the intelligentsia in there. Now, part of this is less than 50% of barracks being located in slave states, less than 50% of naval administration levels being located in slave states. So, maybe one answer to this problem is all of my naval administration is in Massachusetts. So I need to build 15 levels of naval administration in the slave states in order to in order to get those numbers fixed up. But there are a lot of loyalist supporters. But that's not ticking change. The movement has a base ticking increase of 1% per week. 9% from the slavery debate. Those are percentage changes. But this number is going down because dedicated police force was recently enacted. It is going to go away. So let's say we build 5 levels of naval administration in the Old South. Okay? We'll queue those into the top of the queue, and we're going to see how that impacts the movement, and if it gets it moving down in activism, if it mitigates some of this. Because right now, this 25% is because all of the naval administration is in Massachusetts. But I think this is percentage based. I think this is because there's only some barracks in the South. So naval administrations are being built. There's fractional distillation. That's good. Let's check out our food industries. Ooh, we can go to sugar beets, but that's not actually better. Let's check out our food industries. Patent stills. You still seem to think you'll be less productive on running those, which is fine, I guess. Let's hit these to prioritize grocery production. We'll see if these ones in Vermont and North Carolina are able to be more productive this way. John Ross's protest petition. Chief John Ross, one of the principal Cherokee chiefs, has presented a petition to Congress asking them to void the treaty which will compel the Cherokee Nation to relocate to the Indian Territory. His petition has almost as many signatures as the entire Eastern Cherokee population. I thought this was done already. By the stipulations of this treaty, we are stripped of every attribute of freedom. Our property may be plundered before our eyes. Violence may be committed on our persons. Even our lives may be taken away, and there is none to regard our complaints. We are denationalized. We are disenfranchised. We are deprived of membership in the human family. So, this is an interesting event. We'll see what happens. A treaty is a treaty. We cannot rescind what we have signed. Southern planters happier for 5 years. Or, our conscience compels us to void the treaty. Further removals will be stalled for 3 years. I'm going to do the first one, just because keeping the Southern planters happy is important for this. Okay, alright. So now, yes. Okay, so we dropped this number by 10% by building a small amount of naval administration in the South. So this is going to go down to 81%. When you have a hammer. Brigadier General Thomas Jessup, noting severe unrest in Mississippi, has proposed using the army to suppress agitation in the area. Whilst his political allies support him, there's heavy risk to following his plan. So he is an historical character. He's an abolitionist armed forces fellow. It's simple. We have an army and there's the enemy. Let me deploy my men to do what is needed, and the enemy shall be vanquished. That's all there is to it. Reprimand the Brigadier General and reject the plan. Armed forces unhappy. Or we must use the tools we have to solve the problems we have. Equal chances of the pro-slavery movement succession going up or down. I'm going to pick the second one. I don't want to piss off my armed forces. It's only 5%, and it's never going to get past the point that it needs to actually pop off. Alright, there we go. Beautiful. So, that's actually basically sorted this out. And there's joint stock companies. Wonderful. So, yeah, and so with the dedicated police force number going down, that's really going to sort out all of this. Let's actually engage in a little bit more of this. Zachary Taylor is heading up the Army of Florida. Got some dragoons, which we can upgrade. Let's build just a few. Infantry and artillery units in the Army of Florida as well. And that is going to make the pro-slavery movement, hopefully that'll get them below 75% and that'll be fine. Did I see another event? I don't think I did. But it's time to unlock a new company. So let me see. Let's sort by available. Only got 7, so which one's got the best bonuses? You know I love reduced radicals from political movements. Manufacturing industry's throughput is really strong, though. Colony growth speed would be very nice. That's very, very good. Tobacco and sugar plants? Colony growth speed. But that's not going to be good permanently. That's not going to be good permanently, because we're the United States. Yeah, let's go textile mills building throughput and prime meat. That is tempting, but I think we're going to have to go with the manufacturing industries throughput one. I think that just makes sense. So, New York Metal, you can have investment rights, and industry rights, you can get access to steel mills. Let's leave them be for now. Now, what about William Cramp and Sons? You guys are motor industries and shipyards. That's fine. Do you need investment rights? I feel like you do. Additional industry rights, you can go to artillery foundries. That's interesting, but we'll leave them where they are for the moment. Alright, so with these being built, hopefully that'll sort out the pro-slavery movement for the moment. Now I am taking a gamble here, because long term this is increasing the strength of the pro-slavery movement by putting barracks in where they live. But hopefully it will be something we can sort out over the long term. I really thought I was finessing the southern planters pretty good. Now, the abolitionist movement has started to go down. Okay, and that is what it is, because we got rid of the Fugitive Slave Act. Again, potentially an error, but potentially not. So the pro-slavery movement is quite small overall. But obviously they're geographically quite large. Now, is this... I still don't have the ability to colonize Texas. Where was that? Can I stake a colonial claim on Texas? I'm gonna try. On Texas. Alright. So this will get us some infamy. Let's do it. And now I can colonize there. Alright, beautiful. I figured it out. I figured it out, friends. Okay, so I've got colonies growing everywhere I want colonies growing right now. I still need to. There are still other places I need to go after, but I'm not blocked from expanding anywhere I wish to be expanding. Still working on canneries up to mechanical workshops. I think that's important to do. Now, in terms of my markets needs, I still need more paper manufacturing, more furniture manufacturing, and more engines. I have capacity to increase engines, so that's not really necessary right now. Paper mills, though. Let's go ahead and build up those in New Jersey and New York. I'm roughly doubling the paper usage, but I'm roughly at 50%. I don't think I need export tariffs on paper at present. Ooh, North German mass immigration. Exciting. Let me, in fact, see if I've got export tariffs on a lot of things. Let me see. Tariffs. I do have export tariffs for iron, and I don't think that's wise. I have export tariffs for artillery. I don't think that's wise either. Law enforcement's up to level 3. Very good. Import tariffs for dye. I'll leave that where it is for now. And export tariffs for steel. I'm just curious. I think I can dispense with that. Export tariffs for wood I can dispense with. I love being in protectionism. Yeah, I'm just gonna... I'm gonna generally set export tariffs to 0. I think being able to export as much as you like is generally very good. Let's good for your country. It's good for your businesses and all that. Helps you compete on the global market. Alright. Speaking of competing on the global market, I will say this as well. I think I want to build a small amount of trade capacity in any state that doesn't have any trade capacity. Just to make sure that states are able to get the resources they need. I'm not going to build too much trade capacity up because I don't necessarily... A lot of these places don't need a lot, but many of them need at least a little. There's starvation in DC, which is not great. I wish the little icon wouldn't move every time you cue one in, but them's the break. Actually, there's a smarter way to do this. Hold on. Hold, please. Alright, there we go. Got it. I have given myself a steel shortage like a big, smart person. We'll see what comes of that. Armed Forces petition government. Representing his constituents in the armed forces, Winfield Scott has issued a formal petition to the American government to pass secret police. One last matter for the day, sir. Members of your constituency arrived this morning. They're asking rather loudly and insistently if you would meet with them about new legislation. Oh, is that it? Goodness, you look as if you've seen a ghost. I'm sure I can spare the last stars of the light for them, can't I? I believe so, sir. They were not taking no for an answer. Okay, hold the phone. If I go to secret police, who gets mad? The intelligentsia? Easy peasy. The caning of Henry Clay. Henry Clay, an outspoken abolitionist, has been beaten with a cane by John Calhoun, a slave owner. Clay's injuries compel him to convalesce and retire from public office, while Calhoun still walks free. While President Calhoun still walks free. Such barbarism. I sadly do not see how two such disparate communities can constitute one state. John Calhoun was just defending his honor. We will do nothing. Henry Clay retires from office. Or John Calhoun is assaulted a citizen. He must be removed from office and arrested. Let's dispense with... so this will be Henry Clay retires and John Calhoun is removed from office. I'm going to pick the second one. Alright, so this makes Admiral Lafayette the new Commodore of the United States government. That should say President. This has cost us a little bit of authority. We'll cut our consumption tax. No problems there. And yeah, so who's the new leader of the intelligentsia? It's a liberal. And who's the new leader of the Southern Planters? It is President Eli Augustus Frederick Lafayette, a moderate. Cool. Alright. So we'll leave things be where they are for now. Or no, we're going to secret police. Everyone loves a secret police. Let's do it. I don't have anyone to negotiate with except for the intelligentsia, or I don't have anyone I care to negotiate with, is really what it is. Have my Southern Planters become mad? No, they're not. They're not because of that, anyway. Alright. I forgot to read the Seminole Wars event. By the terms of the Adams-Onis Treaty, Florida is ours to govern as we see fit. And by the terms of the Treaty of Payne's Landing, the Yat-Seminole should be removed to reservations further west. Led by stubborn chiefs, however, they refuse to either submit to our rule or relocate themselves to Oklahoma. We must find a way to bring Florida fully under our control. So this will complete if the United States owns all of Florida. If completed, every Muskegean pop will move to Oklahoma. Triggers the event the Seminole Peace, which will be pretty bad. If it will be failed if all of the Yat-Seminole people, if all of Florida is owned by Yat-Seminole, and if we do, we lose our claim. So that's fine. That's fine. So, hold on. Okay. Where Where was that button? Where was the button? The colonial claim thing is somewhere here. State colonial claim. Oh, interesting. So I don't have anywhere I can stake a colonial claim at present. Maybe you need to have no infamy. We'll see. Alright. So, secret police, nobody's against. Rousing speech captivates the public. This afternoon, Winfield Scott, leader of the armed forces, delivered a fiery speech advocating for the enactment of secret police. Making an appearance before the public in Washington's main square, Winfield Scott's powerful rhetoric left even his most embittered political opponents impressed. Excerpts in the speech are already being circulated across the United States of America, fanning the fires of an already roaring debate. This should ease the path to reform greatly. Extra enactment success chance, or performances like these reflect well on Winfield Scott and his cause. He becomes more popular, increased enactment success chance, but not as much as the first option, and the armed forces get stronger. I'm just going to pick the first one. I think 15% enactment success chance is real good. Alright, so I'm going to be building trade centers for a while. Quite a bit of cash in the investment pool. I'm paying a little bit in interest now, a healthy amount. I have some unrealized taxes, mostly in New York. Let's go ahead and snag our government buildings here in New York, and we will turn them over to using the standardized filing system. That's going to cost more money, but it's also going to produce more bureaucratic capacity, which is going to be good for the long term. Alright, so if I can get the southern planters happy enough, mostly by keeping things on the level with France, I might be able to get away from slavery without a civil war. We'll see. If they're willing to negotiate. They are going down in political strength, which I'm pleased about. They have been steadily going down in political strength since the last election. The age of information. As the secret police law gains traction, many of our people have expressed concerns about their privacy. I have a right to not exist, a worried citizen has reported to the Daily News. This is unheard of, an outrage. The lack of accuracy that this information may bring. Imagine being accused of a crime you didn't commit because they have you put in the wrong list, the wrong ideology, the wrong background. They may have a point. Intelligentsia happier, stronger liberal movement forever. Interesting. Or they have nothing to worry about. Increased enactment time, reduced enactment success chance. Liberal movement becomes more active forever. Intelligentsia unhappy. I'm just going to pick the first one. I think having a stronger liberal movement's probably fine. Probably not going to come back and bite me in the butt at any point here. Engines are still expensive, but I think last time I checked our motor industries were not fully employed. Let's see if they are now. They're not, so I don't need to worry too much about that. What else does our market need? We're still in a steel shortage. Right, but those are about to be finished, so I'm not worried about that. Silk, can't do anything about that. Paper, I've got it queued in. What is... Okay, so luxury furniture is very, very cheap. I am going to subvene the export of luxury furniture significantly, and that'll allow us to significantly expand our furniture manufactories. Let's queue in more furniture manufacturers. Okay, France. You want mutual investment rights, and you want 10 engines a week from me. I don't love this. My economy is 21 million. France's economy is 23 million. That's interesting. My economy is I think, probably increasing faster than theirs. But this is going to cost me money. Let's negotiate. What if I don't buy you cannons? You're even happier with that. What if you give me military assistance? What if instead of... Oh, no, you don't want to give me investment rights. What if I don't give you investment rights? What if instead of investment rights I give you money? This is stupid. I'm just paying France for things, but it's so funny. Um, how much am I spending on military goods? Goods for military upkeep. I'm actually saving money if I do this. Because this is gonna reduce my military goods cost. Well, it's not gonna reduce my. It's not gonna save me money, but it's gonna. It's gonna. It's gonna. It will if there's a situation. Let's try it. What if I completely change the deal? They said yes. Excellent. Crooked connections. Frustrated with the lengthy legal process surrounding secret police, Winfield Scott of the Armed Forces has approached us with an offer to expedite the process, utilizing his personal connections within the state apparatus. A few words in the right ears is all I'm asking for. Everything within the bounds of the law, of course, although I cannot guarantee our opponents in this matter will view such actions with much glee. Grant him permission, time is of the essence, pissed off intelligentsia, reduced enactment success chance, or, no, we do this by the book, or not at all, increased enactment time. Let's go with the second one. I virtually always do that. I don't really think there's any other way to go about it. Dutch National Awakening in Holland. Election is looking pretty similar, though the Whig Party's got significantly more momentum this time through. It looks like the petite bourgeoisie have moved to the Whigs. So that's what's happened here. And that's why things are different. So we'll see what we can do. Open markets. The high prices of wood have become a prominent talking point in the Whig election campaign, arguing that their free trade policies would drive down the price. Don't be fooled. Trade restrictions are not called protectionism because they protect you. They protect a select few profiteers, not from starvation or poverty, but from competition. They protect them from the world. They'd have you think you're safer with an American boot on your neck than you would be if you were free. It's time to stop protecting them. This is the age of the global market, extra momentum for the Whigs, or our current policies are needed to keep the economy stable, extra momentum for the Democrats. I'm going to let the Whigs have some momentum. We'll see how that changes things. Looks like not very much, TBH. Looks like we're going to have significantly increased voter turnout in both areas. Let me see, I am increasing the amount of paper available. And I'm going to increase furniture manufacturing, and I already increased the number of logging camps. I suppose I can increase the number of logging camps further. Wouldn't it be more productive producing less softwood? So, to me, that's a really good indication that we just need more logging camps. It's not going to take forever. Trade centers build really, really fast. So those are going to get built really fast. As you can see, my fourth slot in my queue here is, how is the investment pool hardly using any of the money? It's got stuffed in itself. Law progress to study. Wonderful. Could negotiate with the yeoman farmers. Ooh, they are slavers right now, so negotiating with them could be good. This is a big risk if I do this, because if successful, success chance increases by 21%. See, here's the... No, I don't think I want to do that. I've got plenty of bureaucracy to play with, but I'm going to want that bureaucracy, and they're pretty strong at present. So there's canneries. Chris Bragwell. Chiswell Bragg, a traditionalist aligned with the yeoman farmers. Quite curious. What was I? Canneries. I was looking at canneries. Hey, steam-powered mills for our sugar plants. Let's do it. So, let's start canning. Looks like we'll be more profitable canning fish than meat. You said you would be more profitable. You said canning would make you more profitable. What if you go to pot stills? No, that's even worse. Gosh dang it. What's wrong with you, food industries? Actually, while I'm thinking about such things, let's set mobilization methods. I want extra supplies in all my armies. I produce my own... What do I produce my own of in terms of the luxury goods? I'm producing my own, not coffee or tea, that's for dang sure. I am producing my own sugar and my own liquor. So that's chocolate and liquor. Alright, that should be fine. Pressing issues. The ongoing election has drawn attention to the platforms of the various contending parties. Across the United States of America, the electorate debates which party is worth trusting at the next term in government. The first thing I would take into account is the safety of my investments. If a party would represent chaos, I may safely discount it. The stockbroker tapped his cigar on the rim of the ashtray and continued. The journalist took notes as he spoke. How will the incoming government's tariff policy affect my needed imports? Do they wish to impose taxes which may spur uncertainty? Do they wish to embark upon military adventures? Would these adventures be profitable or would they be ruinous? There is much to consider. The Whig Party makes decisive arguments, extra momentum for them, or the electorate trusts the Democratic Party's policy, extra momentum for them. I'm going to give it to the Whigs and we'll see what happens. Now, my fleet is fully built up, actually, which is a bit of a surprise. Let's, because I'm not used to having this much naval production capacity in the early game. Let's go ahead and throw in another 10 cruisers. Transport capacity is quite good in this army. Let's go ahead and throw... Okay, what's our marine capacity? Our marine capacity is 9 and it's about to go up. So, let's throw in 1, 2, 3, 4 more marines to bring us up to 10. And then we'll get 2, 3, 4, 5 units of artillery in the Marine Corps. And then do I put cavalry in the Marine Corps? I think yes. We'll throw them in New Hampshire. Lovely place to ride a horse. Now, the pro-slavery movement is continuing to go down in saltiness. They are continuing to go down on account of everyone's getting used to dedicated police force. Netherlands. You want trade privileges, mutual trade privileges, and to allow me to build in you? I accept. I would be delighted with this, Netherlands. Mexico, are you a valid rival? Not really. Oh boy. Bishop takes Black Pawn. At a soiree for the Democratic Party's wealthiest supporters, Chiswell Bragg began a long-winded rant about the merits of slavery and discrimination. As you can plainly see, the development of the skull is tied directly to the civility of a man. One can assuredly determine his fitness for good society by the proper measurement of his circumference. How do you intend to prove that a man does his thinking with his bones? Well, as I said, you can determine a man's fitness for good society by properly measuring his skull. People are entitled to their opinions even if they're wrong. Democratic Party gets extra momentum. Civilization is the means of our equality. Democratic Party gets significantly increased momentum. 5% of Afro-American pops become more radical. Or one wonders if Bragg has ever been flogged before. 5% of slaves in the United States become more radical. 2% of pops in the United States become more radical. Extra momentum for the Democratic Party. Interesting. I'm just going to go with the first one. I don't want extra radicalism. That doesn't seem good. Police brutality. Event in Ohio. The use of extreme force is becoming increasingly common among police officers in Ohio. The working class and the socially conscious are rallying against the police as an institution. Scarcely a week passes without their committing some offense which disgusts everybody but the magistrates. Boys are bruised by their ferocity, women insulted by their ruffianism, and that which brutality has done, perjury denies, and magisterial stupidity suffers to go unpunished. Police brutality is becoming one of our most venerated institutions. We cannot tolerate this behavior. Happier intelligentsia and yeoman farmers, reduced law enforcement investment, or the use of force is warranted. 5% of lower stern pops in Ohio become more radical. Happier petite bourgeoisie and armed forces. I'm going to go with the first one. I can always increase armed forces. I can always increase law enforcement again. And more importantly, happy yeoman farmers is good if you want to ban slavery, which I definitely do. The art of doing nothing. Though previously opposing the secret police laws, Chiswell Bragg has considered the armed forces' political position and instead offers support. While speaking with constituents on matters of law, one must first master the art of appearing to do nothing. While you do everything behind whispers and masked men? Indubitably. Welcome their support. Stronger and happier stronger yeoman farmers and armed forces, 10% accurate success chance, or keep an eye out, they're up to something. 5% accurate success chance, Chiswell Bragg loses popularity. I'm actually going to go with the second one. I don't want to make my yeoman farmers any stronger because they're currently slavery maxing. They like slavery, and I don't like that. They're also stopping up the whole secret police thing, which I wish they would not do, but I can't do anything about it. No chance of a stall event, although I could get a stall event from a debate event. Let me see. Colonial affairs is still... I don't have any capacity to increase that. What if I went for... Oh, I got labor movement spreading. On the other hand, I think the next thing I'm going to do is take a run at triage. Now, what about naval stuff? If I actually did... So there's the election. It doesn't appear the Whigs have won a reasonable amount of the vote. I could do it. I could take a shot at it, at banning slavery. And simply allow the pro-slavery movement to revolt, or I could simply... It wouldn't be a very legitimate government to put the Whigs in charge. I think I'm going to leave things where they are for now. The Indian removal. In accordance with the removal treaty, it is time for the Cherokee of South Carolina to relocate to the Indian Territory. Blah, 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 blah. We've seen this event before. I'm going to offer them some assistance, same as I always do. This is going to move 20 pops. Okay. Weird. I wonder if that event bugged out a little bit. Yeah, it's still going. It's interesting. Why is our success chance going down here? Do we have the support of someone else before? Or is this simply the armed forces becoming weaker? I'm not sure. Hard to tell. Hard to tell. So we're building up all of our trade centers. Let me see. I've got my barracks. Could do the expansion of the Marine Corps right now. I am paying 2K in interest. I would love to stop building a little bit, but I think these trade centers are going to pay massive dividends on a lot of different fronts. Law debate failed. Well, gosh dang it. Alright. Yeoman farmers. The yeoman farmers pour only their best vintage and smoke only their finest tobacco during a polite discussion with the government representatives regarding secret police. Compromise makes for a good umbrella, but a poor roof. It is temporary expedient, often wise in party politics, almost sure to be unwise in statesmanship. Quietly create a special subsidy for these good people. 8,400. Makes them stronger, 10% chance of backroom dealings exposed. Lowering taxes could help the economy. They want taxes at low or very low for 2 years. Failure will partly radicalize them. Okay, that's not bad. Political concessions, that's permanent. I don't want that because it lowers my authority. Let's lower taxes. We'll commit to lowering taxes. That'll do. That will do. So now they're a lot happier. Commitment tax cuts. Alright. This is 23 months remaining. Oh, we are at low taxes. That's right. Cool. Alright. I did it. I'm the best. I'm the best. I wonder when I oh, maybe I lowered maybe it automatically lowers taxes as soon as you do that. Maybe that's what that's talking about. Okay, well that's fine. I can afford to be at low taxes for a couple of years. No big deal. No big deal at all. We're fine. It's fine. We're chill. We're so chill. It's never been chiller, I say, as I'm in the process of enacting secret police. So, one of the reasons I'm enacting secret police is because the extra suppression bonus we get from secret police is going to make suppressing the pro-slavery movement even stronger. And that's going to be very good for me in terms of my ability to get off of slavery. I think for tech, after I do triage, I'm going to go to quinine because I think I want to be colonizing faster, actually. I think that's going to be good for me long term. It's going to let me get more of this before Mexico gets all of it. And I am going to need to fight Mexico eventually. Now's a good time to fight Mexico. I could do a return CB for Texas. Rifling unlocked. Excellent. We need more guns. Perfect. Cheaper guns will make the people of America happier. I'm getting some government dividends. How many? There's 61 nationally owned building levels. That's kind of shocking in the United States. Let me see. I'm still building basically railways, which is reasonable. It's a reasonable thing to be building, all things considered. We're close to the enactment of secret police. Oh, interest. Oh, right. Santo Domingo starts as a Spanish colony. That's fine. And as you can see, these trade centers are being built at a very reasonable rate. Serbian mass immigration. Excellent. Now, how is literacy doing? Literacy is continuing to go up, which is good. Let me hit our market here. A lot of aid failed. That's unfortunate. Luxury furniture is getting expensive, which is good. Alright, there we go. So if I subvene the export for silk, I can produce my own luxury clothes, and I think that's the right call. So, we'll just have one of our textile mills produce luxury clothes. I'm going to tariff incoming luxury clothes. That's going to stop importation of luxury clothes, which is going to make that textile mill more productive. Leastwise, in theory, other countries may be highly subvening the export of luxury clothes, but now that I'm producing my own, it should be real good. It should be fine. It should be just fine. Happily, the price of tools has gotten normal. Ooh, Yankee National Awakening. We're doing a lot of exporting of engines, which is also good. A lot of exporting of artillery and luxury furniture. Law advancement. Get that up to 15. Okay. All right. So this is an error is occurring with this number here. Eli Augustus Frederick Lafayette has passed away, and now Zachary Taylor is the new president of the United States. So you are a Southern Planters aligned moderate. That's increased our legitimacy by a good amount, which I'm pretty pleased with. Overall, I'm pretty happy with our number of loyalists in the country. That's pretty good. We need a new... Oh, no. Isaac Hull has been immediately moved into the position. Let's promote him to Rear Admiral, and that should give him enough command capacity to run the place. Now, I'm still spending quite a bit subsidizing the construction of ships, but not that much. Not that much, which I'm feeling better about. Trade centers are building surprisingly slowly, but I guess part of that's because the private sector is building a lot of stuff. You know, it would also be nice to be able to get steel railway cars, but I would need to knock out all the other tier 2s in production before I can get to that point. Steel railway cars would be really, really good, because that would make my railways much more productive. Interestingly, it seems like border colonization for the United States is slower than it used to be. Mexico does not have any real problematic things, so I could go after Texas. I could simply say, "Give me Texas." Nobody would step in except for potentially the Mosquito Kingdom, Nicaragua, Guatemala. I'm not afeared of any of them. Let's give a shot at this. Let's see if we can do this. I just want Texas. Just want a little bit of Texas. Just give me Texas. All right, so I got a bunch of fronts. Now let's put the regular army on the main front. You know, the one with Texas, and then we'll put these other armies. We'll put the Marine Corps over here in Utah. We'll put the Army of Florida here in Colorado, and we'll put the Army of Observation in Texas as well. Actually, no, we'll put the Army of Observation in Colorado. We'll put the Army of Florida in Texas. No, we'll put the Army of Florida in Utah, and we'll put the Marine Corps in Texas. A lot of... The Marine Corps will do really well in the desert, I think. I think that'll be just great. Nobody I can sway here. An accidental discovery. Whilst the government prepares to pass the secret police law, our agents have captured a Mexican spy, damaging our already feeble trust in them. I say as we're in the process of going to war with Mexico. A list of all of our generals and their families, notes on the state of our barracks and ports, predictions about our imports, exports, production ports, everything. I'm surprised they didn't get an inventory of our favorite wine. Our people need to know. Increased enactment success chance, reduced enactment time, deteriorates relations with Mexico. Or this is very useful information that should remain private. Armed forces happier, deteriorates relationship with Mexico more. Okay, alright. So this first one is reduced enactment success, increased enactment success chance by 10%, reduced enactment time by 20%. This one's the reverse. Increased enactment success chance by 20%, reduced enactment time by 10%. I'm going to pick the second one because I think enactment success chance matters more than enactment time. Mexico refuses demands. Alright, so I could also do Navy stuff in this war. Let's do port bombardment in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll shoot at ports. That'll be nice. They're putting a lot of units in places where I do not have a lot of units. We will set the Army of Observation merely to defense for the time being. Because force comparison there seems pretty weak. I don't know why the Army of Observation's organization is so low. I don't want to mobilize my conscripts right now because I genuinely don't think I need them. Now, forced slavery movement continuing to go down in... And there's secret police. Beautiful. So, that's the government petition completed. I'm going to increase Home Affairs by 1 level. I'm going to queue in identification documents, which are... Oh, no, I'm not going to queue those in. Colonization of Florida completed. All right. Beautiful. The Seminole War is completed. The Seminole Peace. Our victory in Florida has compelled the Muskegon people to surrender their last refuges to the government. Now is the time to build a new future for these vast lands. They fled deeper into the swamp, among the marl prairie and the cypress trees. The bluecoats thought they'd all left, but they were wrong. Someday they hoped it would be safe to live outside of this sweltering shelter. For now, they lived. The Treaty of Prin's Landing is fulfilled at last. 124 Muskogean Protestant aristocrats and 18.9 thousand Muskogean Protestant peasants will move to Oklahoma. Industrial-grade materials. The industrialists find the high price of steel in the capital an impediment to their ambitions and would like us to prioritize importing it. My business associates abroad say I run my business with an iron fist. It may sound intimidating, but it is in fact a rather humiliating joke at my expense. They are looking to imply I am getting rusty. We will find a source of this vital material for the modern age, add set up steel import to the Journal of the United States, or their ambitions should first be to make steel, not use it. I'm going to pick the first one. So I need to lower the price of steel in my market, and I need to have import subventions for steel. So we'll go ahead and subvene import of steel by a little bit, and then I think maybe the answer to this is I simply subsidize my... Oh no, my steel mills are not adequate to the task of producing all of the steel that I wish to produce. That's fine. Let's get some steel mills built in Ohio. Let me see. I think I still want to work on my trade centers as a higher priority task than this. Actually, maybe increasing the size of the army is more important right now that we're in a war. 2 arms. Well, never mind. I don't need more steel mills. I can just implement the Bessemer process. Huzzah! And there's labor movement. Beautiful. And there's setup steel import complete. That's made our industrialists much happier. Silas Roosevelt has retired. Interesting. Alright, so we are successfully making progress in Mexico. Given that the only thing we want is Texas, I don't really think there's going to be all that much of a war to be fought here. Force comparison is improving significantly on all fronts as we deal damage to the Mexican armed forces. It seems like Mexico is really quite weak at this point in the game, with a GDP of 4 million. So I think we're basically going in here. Ooh, Great Plains interest here increased. Excellent, excellent. All right. All right. Well, I'm gonna set Mexico City as our strategic objective. I don't think we need to be all that much concerned about this. Mexico is losing war support at a rapid rate, and as we're increasing occupation, so hopefully we'll just be able to get to thrust forward and increase our everythings. Let's have Winfield Scott's army go over to, let's do cautious advance. This is good, right? Reduce morale loss. Let's try it. All right. So those are getting built. Those barracks are getting built. Now, on port bombardment, we should be... Yes, we are doing devastation. Wow, we're doing a lot of devastation here. That's bananas. Did I devastate Texas? I believe I did. Maybe that was dumb, but that's okay. I've been dumb before, and I will be dumb again later. How's that for a statement of policy? Large numbers of German people have begun migrating to Wisconsin. Wonderful. How much am I paying in interest right now? 3.5k. Not that much. I do think I want to continue to rapidly expand the size of my economy and everything, including the army, which I am currently expanding. Wow. Okay. So this devastation is from navies is pretty significant. Because this is going up pretty fast. Wow. Oh, interesting. Devastation from bombardment is limited to a maximum of 25%. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So, this is actually... So there's a limit to how much I can do with this. So now, let's blockade. So now we're blockading the Gulf of Mexico. And that should be fine. There's not... This isn't... Right. Raid supply lines is not... It's not a thing that's needed right now. Mexico's moving a bunch of armies around, but it seems like they should be willing to make peace. And they are. Give me Texas. Cool. Nice short war. Home by Christmas. Texas. Gonna need some trade capacity. And I can't start incorporating them because I haven't fully colonized the area yet, which is just fine. Alright. Excellent. So, should we go? We've been going for almost 2 hours. This might end up being a shorter starting episode. I'm not sure yet. We'll kind of see what happens. I do want to get to my point of I do want to finish building these trade centers and these barracks. But I do also want to kind of get to my point of no longer being... Oh, I should reset production methods. Of being able to relax a little bit about a selection of things. In particular, I want to be able to stop building and knock out my my national debt, because my national debt is significant. I know stopping building is not very popular among some of y'all, but... Oh, actually. First, you sir may return home, but also, let's get some more ships built. Let's get some more ships built. Let's build 10 more of our small ships and 5 more of our capital ships. I'm just going to quietly intersperse these. I'm not sure if that's really useful or needed, but it feels good to do, I think. Feels good for me to do. At any rate. Alright, and that's good. And we have another event. We've had a very heavy a very eventful early game. The Indian removal. In accordance with the removal treaty, it is time for the Cherokee of Arkansas to relocate to the Indian Territory. Some holdouts refuse to leave their homes in many are poorly equipped future. Alright, we're going to offer some assistance, same as we've been doing. I'm not going to simply force people out of their homes at bayonet point and not provide some provision. Again, it's just a question of like I'm shooting myself in the foot economically by shooting at my own people. It's pointless, useless waste of life. All right, I should be able to take away my trade subvention for steel now. And where are we with institutions? We're closing in on Home Affairs level 2, which is good. We're almost done with our commitment to lowering tax cuts, which is very nice. Yeah, so that's real good. In fact, when's my next election? 1844. I think probably once my commitment to tax cuts finishes out, which should not be too much longer, I will call the episode finished, and then next time, maybe we'll throw the Whig Party in power and see if we can take an end run around slavery. I think we can do it. I think we can do it, my nerds. I think we can make that happen. So, what have we accomplished so far? We got ourselves a secret police force. We got ourselves a dedicated police force. We've done police reform. We got a hold of Texas through war with Mexico. We've done some frontier colonization over here in the West. We've incorporated new territories. We've built up the economy. We've built up trade capacity. We've built up construction capacity by a lot. And all in all, we've generally had a pretty good first episode. Against the odds, despite not enjoying full rights under American law, some wealthier Afro-American people have begun moving into neighborhoods and frequenting establishments they would normally be excluded from. If you want our children to have a future, this is where we should raise them, he said. I want to live somewhere safe. She crossed her arms. Have you seen the looks we get? When people talk about safe, they don't mean safe for us, they mean safe from us. We made some new regulations to keep the peace, extra radicalism for discriminated pops. 2% of Afro-American pops in the United States become more radical, or they've fairly earned their success with all that entails. Saltier and weaker petite bourgeoisie. 2% of Afro-American pops in the United States become more loyalist. I'm going to pick the first one. My petite bourgeoisie are the bedrock of my Whig Party, and if they get weaker, then my ability to get away from... Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Didn't I just say I was going to put the game to bed as soon as I finished the tax cut? Alright, next episode, we'll see all of these events, all of these exciting events. For now, though, I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.